Well, hello. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Jesus. Monday morning devotions, even. Bright and early, I guess. Or maybe not. I don't know. Depends on what time I get this thing actually posted. Anyway, hope everyone had a wonderful Valentine's Day yesterday. Got to celebrate with the people you love. We had a good one. We just kind of chilled and did some takeout and hung out around our house. We did go to church, the boys and I did, and so we had a pretty good Valentine's Day. So I hope you did too. Well, today we are going to talk about words. I actually have already talked about this once in the past weekish. It's kind of come up a couple of times, but a few weeks ago, Miss Lori, lady at our church, and I were asked to participate in a parenting class series. We're both trainers for Triple P Parenting, and we were asked to be one of several sets of presenters to present a topic with some guys that are working to get their lives back together, and there's a large number of them that have children, and so they're doing a parenting class as part of their recovery process. So Lori and I got together and we tried to decide what we're going to talk about, what we're going to do, and we decided to talk about the power of words and how important words are and how powerful your words are. And me being me, most things I do and things like that are going to be scripturally based. So we were looking at scripture and different things, and she read a little book. I'll tell you about it in a little bit. But so we talked about words and the power of words. Well, then my pastor at my church, as part of one of his sermons, we're going through the book of James. He talked about the power of words and how important they are. And then several other people I've heard speak about it over the last little bit and all this stuff. So I was like, okay, so I've been milling it around in my brain and mulling it over, and it just has stuck with me, and it's just still there. And I thought, what am I going to do for devotions this week? So I looked at several different things, but this idea of words and the power of words just kept hanging on. And I was like, well, I guess that's what I'm going to talk about again. I'm going to take a lot of what I talked about with those fellas and let y'all in on it, I guess, because it's important, I think. I don't know who it's important for. I know it was important for those guys, and I know it was important for me, some of the things that I kind of thought about and God and I dealt with a little bit, but evidently there's somebody out there that needs to hear this too, about the power of your words. So we're just going to jump right in. Words have power, obviously, right? They are a lot more powerful than we think they are. Proverbs 18:21 says that the tongue has the power of life and death. Did you know that it had that much power? It does. It says it has the power of life and death. The tongue, that little bitty thing, has the power of life and death. But then also, if we look at Proverbs 15, a good chunk of Proverbs 15 talks about your words. If we start in verse 1, it says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise commends knowledge, but the mouth of the fool gushes folly. And then jump on down to verse 4. It says, the tongue that brings healing is a tree of life, but a deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. Then down in verse 7, the lips of the wise spread knowledge, not so the heart of fools. The tongue that brings healing is like a tree of life, but a deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. So the tongue, your words, have the power to either breathe life into someone, into their spirit, or to crush their spirit. Something as simple as words, right? Statistically, okay, in the world of psychology and socio-emotional and uh, things like that, statistically, I had to write it down somewhere, I'm sure I remember. Positive word, a positive word, a compliment, an encouragement, something like that, an affirmation. You have to hear that 7 to 10 times before you take it to heart, before you believe it's true, before you accept it as being truth. Okay? 7 to 10 times you have to hear that. A negative word, a harsh comment, a criticism. You only have to hear it one time. One time. And you take it to heart. You believe it. It's not balanced there, is it? So think about it. Every time you say a harsh word, a negative comment, a criticism, gossip, slander, that person is taking it to heart. That person is believing it of themselves. And you may be undoing someone else's 7 times of telling them the positive. One time. One time. Words can bring life to the spirit, or they can crush the spirit. So I was telling you that Miss Lori and I got to teach at this parenting class, got to present. And one of the things that we used was Lori has this book and she read it to you. It's a children's book. There's an adult version, but we read the children's book. It's something like Filling Your Bucket. I can't remember the name exactly. But basically it's this little boy. And his grandfather explains to him that everybody has a bucket above their head. It's a little bucket. And as you go throughout your day, your bucket is either filled or emptied. Every time something positive happens or someone says something positive to you or praises you or some good happens, your bucket gets filled. But every time something negative happens, every time someone yells at you or someone makes you angry or says a negative word to you, your bucket empties a little bit. And that kind of affects how you feel, your bucket filled or emptied. And so the book goes through and it shows how different people are either filling or emptying this little boy's bucket. And toward the end, he realizes that everybody has a bucket and that he knows how it feels to have his bucket emptied. And he knows how it feels to have his bucket filled. So he starts trying to help fill other people's buckets. So it's a cute little book, an illustration about how our words and interactions affect other people. And so we did this whole thing about filling your child's bucket. That your words and your interactions can either fill your child's bucket or it can empty your child's bucket. But the interesting thing is that this is a two-way street, right? It goes both ways. You fill someone's bucket with those kind words, those positive words, those encouragements and affirmations. And you empty their bucket with those criticisms and harsh words and just being angry, right? Negative things. But here's the thing. It works backwards. When you're filling someone's bucket, right? When you are doing those kind things, those kind words, those affirmations, and filling someone else's bucket, it's also filling your bucket. Every time they get a drop, you get a drop, right? But every time you empty someone else's bucket, right? Every time you say that harsh word or that criticism, you're losing a drop in your bucket. Because I want you to go to Matthew. We're going to look over in Matthew chapter 12. So why is this? Why is it that words are so important? Why is it that something as little as a word out of your mouth can affect someone else so greatly? can fill their bucket or empty their bucket? And why does how you affect them then in turn affect you? So I know that sounds a little complicated, convoluted, but it's important. Why is it important? Well, let's look at Matthew chapter 12, verse 34 and 35. Okay? God's talking. Jesus is talking. Oh, God's talking. Jesus is talking. He's talking to the Pharisees. Okay? And he says in verse 34, "You brood of vipers, how can you who are evil say anything good?" Here we go. You ready? You're either going to say, "Oh me," or "Oh my." For out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. The good man brings good things out of the good stored up in him, but the evil man brings up evil things out of the evil stored in him. Why is it so important about what we say and how that reflects back on us? Is because out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. What's in your heart is what you are reflecting, right? So if you are reflecting kindness, positive affirmations, encouragement, then that means that's what's in your heart. But if you are reflecting negativity, harsh words, criticism, anger, and hate, that's what's in your heart, right? Okay? Philippians. Let's go to Philippians. Philippians. Where's Philippians? Okay, Philippians 4. Philippians 4, verse 8. Finally, brothers, what is true, what is noble, what is right, what is pure, what is lovely, what is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice. Whatever is noble, true, right, pure, admirable, lovely, that's what you should be thinking on. That's what should be in your heart. Okay? If those things are what we're thinking on, if those things are in our heart, then let's jump over here to Galatians. Right? If that's what's in our heart, then the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of your heart is love, joy, peace, kindness, patience, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. If what's in our heart and what we're thinking of is the things of God, things that are pure, things that are noble, true, right, lovely, then we're going to be reflecting, and we're also going to have inside of us peace, patience, love, joy, kindness, gentleness, goodness, faithfulness. That's what we should be speaking, what we're going to be speaking. But also, we are reflecting what's inside of us, what's been given to us. Because it says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. That doesn't just go for us and others. We talked last week about the love of God. That is from God too, right? Out of the abundance of His heart, flows. What is the main thing that flows from God? Grace, mercy, love. So if we have those things, if those things are poured into us, mercy, grace, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, things that are pure, things that are lovely, all those things are what is inside of you, then that's what needs to come out of you to other people. Right? You need to be speaking that to the people that you love, to your children, to your husband, to your wife, to your friends, to your family, to the people in your community. Right? You need to be speaking life to them. Right? Filling their buckets. Right? So what's in your heart? What is in your heart? Okay, so the last part of the Philippians verse says, whatever, it's verse 9, whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice. Okay? What have we seen? What have we heard? What have we learned? Okay? Let's jump over here to Mark. Okay? That's not Mark. That's Mark. Mark chapter 12. Yes, 30 and 31. Two greatest commandments. Two greatest commandments. 1, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. Number 2. Here we go. Number 2. The second is this. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? If I'm going to love people like I want to be loved, I can tell you what kind of words that I want spoken to me. I want words of love, words of kindness, words of encouragement, words of joy, words of peace. Right? Let's see what else. Oh, look, mercy and grace, because I need both of those. I need a lot of those. I need a lot of mercy and a lot of grace, because I am not perfect. And the people that I love know that, and they must extend me lots of grace. But that's the things I want spoken over me and spoken to me. And I can tell you definitely what I don't want spoken to me. I don't want harsh words. I don't want hate and anger and criticism, right? Judgment. I don't want people to be judgmental of me. That's God's job. He deals with me enough. I don't need you helping. Right? So, disapproval, discouragement. I don't want those words spoken to me. So, I don't need to be speaking them to other people. I want words of encouragement. I want words of approval and love and mercy and grace and forgiveness, right? And joy, excitement, right? I want people to build me up. Gentle correction, right? Gentle correction is a whole lot different than judgment. You can tell me, sweetie, maybe that's not the best thing to be doing. Right? Different thing. Because you're helping. You're not judging me. You're not condemning me. You're loving me. That's what we need. We need words of love. Because that's what should be inside of us. Right? That's what's being poured into us by God. And if it's inside you, it needs to be coming out of you. So, words have power. They have power to fill your bucket. They have power to empty your bucket. They have power to fill others' bucket. They have power to empty others' bucket. We need to be speaking life. Words can either give life to the spirit or crush the spirit. We need to be speaking life to the people we love, right? God spoke life to you. While you were yet sinners, Christ died for you so that you could have life. He raised you from being dead in your sin to life everlasting. He spoke life to you. Speak life to others, right? Right. So out of the abundance of the heart, the tongue speaks. What's in your heart? I almost said what's in your wallet. Commercials have that effect on us. But anyway, what's in your heart? Right? Okay? Are you thinking on earthly things? Or are you thinking on heavenly things? Are the things that are reflecting from your heart the fruits of the Spirit? Or are they the fruits of this world? I'm not talking about an apple. Right. I'm talking about lots of other things. So the power of your words can either crush a spirit or give life to a spirit. So I encourage you, think about what you're saying to people. Think about how you're saying it to people. Make it a point to speak life to the people you love. Make it a point to tell them you love them. To tell them that they're precious in the sight of God. To tell them they're important to you. To encourage them in what they're doing. Give them grace and mercy. We're human. We all make mistakes. Love them through those mistakes. Grace and mercy are so hard to give other people. Easy to accept. Sometimes it is hard to accept. But most of the time, we're pretty good at going, sorry. And be like, okay, so glad you forgave me. So glad you let that one go. You know, but it's so hard to give. You know, it's so hard to give grace and mercy to other people. That's your challenge this week. Speak life to someone, anyone. Even if it's yourself. If you need to speak life to yourself and quit being negative to yourself, do that too. But I know this one's kind of a shorter, not real, last week we did like 50,000 verses in the Bible. We basically read the whole Bible in one devotion. But this is just more to the point. It's just those two verses really is that the tongue has the power of life and death. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Speak life. Speak life. So, we're going to speak life this week. And we'll drink some coffee that's gone cold. Not my favorite. I will have to heat that stuff up right there. I hope you have a wonderful week. And let me just tell you this. You are precious in the sight of God. He loves you. And I love that you are watching this. It makes me happy. I'm so happy you're with me. And I just, I ask God to bless you this week and to show you how wonderfully special you are to Him. And just keep walking every day in the knowledge that He is in control. He is in control. And that He loves you. All right, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you and I praise you that you have spoke life to me. And that you are continuing to speak life into me with your love and with your grace and with your mercy, with your peace and your patience, yes, your patience, and your joy. And that I know you love me and that I am special to you. Lord, I ask that you just speak life to everyone who's watching, and through them, speak life to others. That we just have this flowing effect, that out of the abundance of your heart, you have spoken life to us. And out of the abundance of our hearts, we are going to speak life to others. I just ask that you bless everyone that is out there watching and just show them how important they are to you. Lord, we just love you. Thank you, and we praise you. Amen. Well, y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week, okay? And just speak life, okay? All right, bye.